I'm very pleased to introduce our next two speakers who are going to be talking about building a digital vision. Uh, we please welcome on stage Mr. Anish Shah, President and CIO, Jio Platforms, and Mr. Kiran Thomas, President and CEO, Jio Platforms. To quickly introduce both gentlemen, some of you know them already, but so Anish currently leads the strategy, direction, and growth of Jio Platforms. He has over 30 years of experience in IT across a range of industry sectors, including manufacturing, retail, e-commerce, telecom, and digital services. His past professional experience includes working as the CIO for Shoppers Stop and heading IT for Godrej GE Appliances. Kiran Thomas is President and CEO at Jio Platforms, and he's worked at the Reliance Group for more than 20 years. He was a key member of the technology team that created a software system stack that is used to run critical operations of the Reliance Jamnagar refinery. So he doesn't look like a programmer, but he is. And subsequently, he was part of the launch team of Reliance Infocom. And after Reliance purchase of 4G spectrum in 2010, he has been involved in the strategy, planning, and project execution and launch of Jio. At Jio, he is responsible for technical innovation and development of Jio's next generation software platforms. So big round of applause for Mr. Anish Shah and Mr. Kiran Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you very much. In fact, it is not only music and entertainment industry where you find the AR and Rahman or Bappi and Lahiri. Here, my colleague Kiran and Anish, in the tech industry, we have been working together for last 25 years. It's not 20 years, but 25 years. Involved in the first Infocom, which was in 2001. And then, of course, in retail, and then in Jio, and now in Jio Platforms. Friends, we are here to talk about the Jio story. We were told that, you should explain the inside of how we have been doing whatever we are doing. And of course, we have been given 20 minutes, so we'll try to see that we do a less of presentation and more of discussion with you. We'll keep some time for if there are any questions, we can take it up. Over to you, Kiran.
Great. Am I audible? Yes. Perfect. So although Jio is kind of reasonably well known in India and probably in many parts of the world, but we thought a short introduction about who we are in terms of some numbers will be in order. We are a young company, although both of us have spent a long period of time with the Reliance Group, but in terms of Jio itself, it's a very young company. It was launched in 2016. In fact, this coming September, we'll be 6 years old, so we are not that old. And generally, we look at our impact on the nation with respect to how India was in terms of its digital infrastructure before we launched, and then we are keeping count of how much of an impact we've been able to make subsequently. As you all know, data was not the big thing before we launched. Most of the telecom industry was about voice, SMS, and so on. In terms of data speeds, I think we were some 150th in the world, less than 1 Mbps in terms of download speed, average download speed. And if you look at it today, more than double-digit, very high double-digit megabits per second, and hopefully with 5G coming along, that will even move along further. Very highly priced data, hundreds of rupees, whereas if you were paying as you go, maybe even thousands of rupees. To now, if you look at it, maybe single-digit rupees per GB is kind of how we are looking at this. In terms of consumption, maybe 1/4 of a GB per user per month. That was the status in 2016. Today, it is more than 20 GB per user per month on our network. And generally, this has been the big story. And from SMS and voice to all kinds of digital applications, we don't have to mention it. In terms of the consumption, we believe from this 20 GB, while it may look like a big improvement, but the vision that our chairman had given us was every user should be able to spend on 4G 1 GB a day. And we used to think, how will they spend? And today we are not too far away from that. And we have already been given the next target, which is to say, how can we spend 2, 3, 4 GBs per day? And we believe that's possible. And we are building the infrastructure for that. Today, as we speak, of course, we had 0 customers in 2016. But today, as we speak, we are pushing more than 421 million and counting. We are the fastest operator, probably fastest digital company to reach 50 million, to reach 100 million, and now to reach 400 million. Ambitions are to obviously push on, get over 500 million, and as IoT and other things come along, obviously these numbers will be manifold. We have also been doing a similar effort on fiber, although a little bit slower, because fiber takes time to roll out, and obviously the COVID lockdowns, etc., did not make it easier. But still, and we also have, as you may know, some of you may know, we have acquired some cable operators, Hathway, Den, and so on. So through that, we anyway have footprint in about 24 million homes in total. 7 of them we have already converted to fiber. So our fiber reaches more than 7 million homes. We are the largest fiber operator today, but we are not happy. In terms of the opportunity, we believe it will be maybe more than 100 million premises between homes and shops could be provided with fiber-like speeds. And that's another thing that something like 5G gives us an opportunity to accelerate that. In terms of potential to grow, we already have fiber outside nearly 16 million premises, homes and businesses. And as we come out of COVID, we are seeing a pickup in terms of the run rate in home acquisitions and premise acquisitions. It's already about 500,000 new connections that we are adding per month, and we believe this could again grow in the coming days. And it's not just connectivity. Obviously, inside the home, we have a unique opportunity because unlike mobile phones, where I think there's a rich ecosystem of applications and solutions, but as we are entering the homes, we find that a similar capability does not exist in the market, or at least in an affordable sense. A lot of the solutions that exist are premium solutions. So in each of these 7 million homes, what we have done is obviously we have provided them a fiber gateway, but in addition to that, we have created a hero usage experience through a set-top box, which is entirely designed and developed internally by Jio engineers. So everything from the hardware to the operating system and obviously all the ecosystem for applications to run is all built by us. Strong partners, again, both our investors, Google and Facebook, they have already ported their marquee applications on that platform. And through the Play Store, there's a rich ecosystem of applications which are, again, today deployed as well as consumed quite actively on this platform. Looking forward, a lot of opportunity still lies ahead with respect to the smart home and we would say smart shop solutions, everything from smart speakers to home IoT and other things. So a lot of work has been going on, and we are looking forward to making those available to the market as well, in addition to all the media solutions that we have already provided. So this is just a quick overview about who we are. I think the main topic here has been how do we think about the digital space? What has been the kind of driving mission for us in terms of how we should participate in this digital economy? So when we started in 2010, as we started thinking about what we should do with data, kind of the initial blueprints of Jio was being conceptualized. I think the clear direction that we were given is we are not doing connectivity, we are not doing only a few applications or few solutions. Rather, we are building or we are doing whatever it takes to build the digital foundations for this country as a whole. That was kind of the marching order given to us. And why is that important? The important reason is, as you know, India has a story of having missed multiple industrial revolutions, right? The very first 2 industrial revolutions, we were colonized, so we could not do much. The third industrial revolution, which happened in the late 90s, we came to the fore, but again, we were providing a lot of services to the rest of the world. So we became a service provider to the rest of the world. And unless we have the digital capability in-house and our businesses and consumers start living that digital experience ourselves, we won't be an effective participant in what we call the 4th industrial revolution. And everybody has spoken about all the exciting things that we could be doing. So the marching order that was given to us was, how do we create that infrastructure which enables the country as a whole? And we start with connectivity, but then we move up the ladder with respect to how we can enable our consumers, businesses, and enterprise to be truly digital. Again, how do we think about the role that our group, or what we call our digital group, and now we have a formal company called Jio Platforms, who is tasked with building all the digital solutions and the digital platforms that power our business. So how do we think about ourselves? So the traditional way, and Reliance is an old company, the traditional way, obviously digital was the responsibility of the IT team. I think I heard this theme resonating in many of the speeches. So moving from the efficiency play that was the traditional role of IT to becoming a business partner, which I think all of us are thinking about how we can be more effective business partners, to really how do we build new businesses out of digital. And that's kind of an opportunity that I think many companies are thinking about as they come out of COVID, new models, new ecosystems that they can develop using digital. But for us, I think we took a slightly more ambitious path, which is to say, how can we do anything and everything, not just to be digital ourselves, but to help other people become digital as well. So how can we be an enabler for digital society in this country? So to do that, obviously, you have to do a little bit more than what traditional, IT teams or digital teams are tasked to do within a company. Obviously, the foundation of all of this is great people and great talent and great practices. And we are benchmarking ourselves continuously with the best digital companies out there, and some of them who are now investors and partners, the likes of Google, the likes of Facebook. How do they think about talent? How do they think about next generation structures, small teams, small agile teams, how can we enable? How can we create communities? Because the moment you have small teams, how do you take learning from one team and make it available to every other team who's doing similar work? And how do we measure performance, and how do we create a culture of continuously pushing the envelope and trying to be the best in the world? So all of that is very high focus for us. Today, as Jio Platforms, we have about 8,000 engineers working internally, but not just to solve our internal problems. I think the way we motivate them is to say whatever you do today here could be relevant to the market as a whole, and not just in India, but even for the rest of the world. So that's how we are able to attract talent and give them very ambitious goals to chase. Likewise, this talent doesn't mean anything unless we have modern practices that go with it. Everything from how do we think about everything as a product. Don't think of it as a project and a little bit of a solution, but think about how this could scale and how this could be applicable to a broader ecosystem. How do we do modern product management principles like rapid prototyping? Rather than building something and throwing it across the fence, how can we engage with users early, prototype things quickly through design thinking, and then build a great product that they are able to use from day one? How do we think about highly scalable planet scale architecture? And it is not about any particular technology, although many technologies make it easier. Things like cloud and other things certainly make it easier. But even without cloud, today we have systems that we have built, which is now about 6 years old, not using cloud, but still which are doing millions and millions of transactions per second. And highly redundant, highly resilient, highly available systems. All of that is driven by architecture. And obviously, CI/CD and other things are now given. Using these capabilities, then we can think about building everything else that comes with it. So our telecom play, which provides connectivity as a base capability. A lot of platforms that we are building, again, like I said, platforms should be thought about as products. So we are building these to help other developers become more efficient. So whether those are dealing with devices and operating system, whether it is cloud as a solution, we make it easier for our developers to consume it. The big data solutions, we do petabyte scale ingestion of data from our telecom network, and we are able to turn that around to everything from optimizing our network to bringing in insights that can then help our marketing teams both reach those customers as well as learn what those customers are using it for and improve our products. And then there's a whole series of technologies that I think we are converting them into platform plays internally so that our developers can build more and more advanced solutions as they go forward. All of these translate obviously to solutions that we can build at the top. So the work that we do in the digital platforms and digital connectivity layer is enabling those small teams, small agile teams to do phenomenal work upstream in the ecosystem. And we are fortunate that we have a lot of companies internally. Reliance has a lot of operating companies which participate in those ecosystems quite extensively. We are a large manufacturer. We are the largest retailer in the country. And obviously, we are a telecom provider as well. And then there are a lot of incubation type products in healthcare, education. So we are fortunate that we have within the group a lot of operating companies who are, as it is, participating in these ecosystems. And as Jio Platforms, we are looking to enable those teams to do superlative work. Another way that we are also building talent and also building capability in addition to doing all of this internally is through working with startups, a lot of whom are now part of the Jio family. Everything from robotics and automation, again, huge synergies that we have with our retail business, to e-commerce platforms, Reverie, which is about Indic language support, as well as translation type services, which takes English content and make it available to obviously the rest of India. Obviously core telecom related startups like Radisys, high-performance computing, haptic, which is smart boards, and then there's a whole series of emerging startups around education, pharmaceuticals, AR, VR. I think this list is growing. So we have just shown a few of those startups that are now part of the Jio ecosystem. In terms of digital platforms, how do we think about it? That's the company that I mentioned. So in addition to the telecom company, we have the digital solutions company. Our charter is to help all of our operating companies succeed in the market. And wherever we have platforms and products come out of it, then obviously those could also be relevant to the rest of the market. So the way we think about that is we've been building, like I said, the talent practices platforms, which is the foundation work, which has been going on now for the last 6 years. The word that we use is from being the digital behind our business, we want to now think about how we can have a business out of digital. That's how we are kind of positioning ourselves, because we have a lot of first-party experience, domain knowledge, as well as digital work that we've done. Many of these could create new business streams for the group. There's a lot that we are doing. I think we have tried to capture this in a single chart. Like I said, the bottom 2 layers is really where we enable our internal developers to really flourish. Everything from providing them, obviously the public cloud we use quite extensively as well, but there are internal private variants of that, including a joint venture that we have with, or a collaboration, a tight collaboration that we have with Microsoft, where on our infrastructure we are running Azure as a platform. So obviously that is kind of like a quasi-private infrastructure that we have. A lot of platforms that enable us to build true multi-cloud capabilities. That is what we call our hybrid cloud management platform. Again, we use it extensively internally. That's how we are able to build the capabilities that our internal engineers and other people want. So highly relevant use cases are built on top of it. And then we have these platforms on top, which is what we call our digital platforms, which enable people to do cutting-edge stuff. We can't show all of them, but some of them we will show a quick glimpse shortly. And on top of that, we build functional platforms. So everything from what we use internally. So again, as we are going through this new org structures, we have to do some interesting work in some of the foundational enterprise platforms as well, HR, finance, and so on. And then those are enterprise-wide, but then we have industry vertical-wide solutions that we're building in telecom, in retail, in manufacturing, and then there are certain incubation projects. All of these are being done now within Jio Platforms. One example of how this might translate into new revenue stream for the company. While we started in 2016, we were licensing products from the telecom vendors, global telecom vendors. But over the last 6 years, what we have done is we've been able to develop a cutting-edge 5G stack 100% internally. So about 1,000+ engineers working over the last 3 years, we've been able to build it, deploy it. In fact, we will be launching our 5G service using this stack. And then if all goes well, then this is like launching Jio to be a telecom vendor in the global marketplace. And all of this is based on modern cloud-native architecture and everything from hardware, radio, to the core systems, all of that has been now built internally. This is an example of how we are building these capabilities, which translates into new products and new revenue opportunities, not just in India, but globally. How do we do this? How do we think about architecture? I think just a quick word. The way we think about architecture is, it is not a trade-off of going slow or going fast. It's about keeping those layers separate. Things that need to go slow. You have to build that robustness and reliability, while at the same time, where it matters, you need to be agile. So we think about our architecture in layers. At the very top layer is what we call our engagement layer. And then we have a platform called Jio Experience Platform that is used to people who are building those experiences, so they can do quick turnaround of applications and other user-facing elements. Below that, we have an orchestration layer. It doesn't change that fast, but when required, we should be able to respond quickly to create new workflows and new experiences that we can orchestrate across using all the capability that we have internally. And then in the middle is the composable part of our organization, all the functionalities that we are building and making them available as APIs, which can be used to orchestrate as well as to tie them to very pleasing and simple to use engagement tiers on top. And then below that, we have this big data that is getting extracted across the chain, being converted to either insight, or we can even feed that downstream to AI, ML models, etc., which can then power back and convert that into closed loop actions in the layers above. And if you look at each of those tiers, what we have done is we have built platforms that can be offered. Think about it like a product, and those platforms can be offered to our developers so that all the knowledge, collective wisdom of the work that we have done over the many, many years is made available to each and every developer through that platform that they can adopt. An example of this, just a quick eyeball, in our telecom area, in the mobility, when we applied many of these principles right from day one. So at the top, we have very well-established applications like MyJio, which just now crossed about 500 million users. I think last month we are probably the largest telecom-related application anywhere in the world. And then obviously we also have internal employee-facing applications, which are also used to serve customers. All of that is kind of what we call at the engagement layer. Then what we tend to do is we tend to look at these user journeys end to end. We have small teams who are held accountable to deliver these journeys for customers end to end. They use the composable artifacts which are provided by the functional tier below, and then they are able to quickly turn around some innovative use cases on top. And all of that is underpinned by what we call our 360 assets. So across this architecture, we are able to pull data to create these 360 models, whether that be around customer, around product, around devices, around revenue, whatever we need, we are able to pull that data in and create those data models, which then create a 360-degree view across this entire architecture.
Just to, maybe, since we are moving fast, just maybe the previous slide. One slide previous. Yeah. In 2016, when we started, almost everything here was commercially off-the-shelf products. SAP, Ericsson, TIPCO, HP, Oracle, IBM. All the stacks were being used. In last 6 years, most of this you can see blue in color because they have been replaced with our own source, open source frameworks. So I think the message to colleagues here is that everything is doable. Even at such a scale, we were able to do it. Make before break kind of architecture. One can really look at it. It's not that we are still not working with all these partners. In fact, they are still good partners to all of us. But I think the benefit which we have got about this is the kind of, yesterday we heard right from Mr. Puri to Manish talking about agility, composable, decomposable, talking about customer first. I think these are the examples which has really helped us to really move fast. MyJio, we make changes every week. We have heard others doing every day, but at least we have reached to every week, which means we can make changes in the topmost layer, the layered architecture which Kiran explained. We have been able to use this architecture in the most agile way. And some of the good frameworks which are available, which we have built it in a manner that we can reuse this when we go to other industry verticals. As Jio Platforms is going out to help in the enterprise sector, in B2B sector, we believe these frameworks, these assets are very, very important. It's not just to say that you can build everything, but these are the ones which can really help to migrate things faster. For people in this room who are thinking of how do they migrate, I would say there's a lot can be done if you start thinking in the right framework and architecture. And some of these architectures are the ones which can really help you to migrate. There are people who want to move from monolithic to cloud and from cloud to hyper cloud or hyperscaler cloud. A lot of these frameworks are the ones which can really help. Today, we run most of our, including our billing, rating and charging system is built in-house, and we use that for doing this. Yeah, this is one of the framework, which is design systems. We have many design systems, which I think Kiran spoke about, but just a sneak peek of what a design system is. It's the experience layer. I think Mr. Puri explained, or rather he emphasized yesterday about why experience is important. Manish in his talk spoke about that why experience is very, very relevant. We believe that everything starts with experience. And we have built a platform completely integrated with the development. So what means whatever you have your UI team or the experience team, whatever they build, whatever they create, all the way getting it into the DevOps, getting it into the CI/CD, getting it along with the code and the APIs. is the system which we have built. Maybe you can give a sneak peek of what that system is all about.
Yeah, so this goes with the philosophy of saying, how do we treat these platforms as products? So this is a platform that is used internally, but still once the teams built this platform, they actually went ahead and launched it within the company with the proper So this is a demo video made by, not a demo video, launch video made by the internal Jio design system platform team to market their offering to the developer community.
To the developer community internally in
JPL.
Jio.
So in a way, it's already created a product mindset within the company, and across the tiers that you saw, everything from our design system to our big data platform to our orchestration platform, the mindset of that product thinking first, I think that's slowly coming in, and that's the exciting thing. That's how you attract talent, and that's how you kind of inspire those people to continue to push the envelope with respect to taking ownership of these platforms rather than just looking at it as a project and handing it over and then thinking they can move on to the next thing. So that's our journey, a short sneak peek. With that, probably we'll stop here, and then if there are
any questions, we can take. Otherwise, we can go for lunch, I believe. Yeah.
There is one question, yeah. Please, sir, go ahead.
Somebody has hand, yeah.
So, from your platform perspective, first of all, I would like to know Jio's viewpoint on metaverse.
Metaverse.
What is your platform strategy for metaverse?
So the question being asked is Jio's point of view on metaverse.
Yeah. Obviously, as you know, you're working very closely with Facebook. So Facebook as an investor in Jio Platforms.
I mean, we are working with Meta for metaverse otherwise.
Right. Now called Meta, right? So obviously, both of us are strong believers in what that could mean. We are obviously building the infrastructure to enable that through 5G and other things, fiber, all of that will be absolutely essential to enable those kind of experiences to come to light. We are also building what I would call affordable devices ecosystem to go with it. So we have this
Jio Glass.
The Jio Glass as a product, which we had, I think, announced a couple of years back in one of our AGMs. So a lot of active work is going on to ensure that we accelerate that, take to market of a very light, easy to wear, affordable device that can power some of these use cases. What those applications are that will come, that is yet to be seen. I think media will play a big role with respect to having immersive media all around you. I think that'll be a very easy use case to get started. Everything from commerce, I think, will be next with respect to really engaging commerce experiences. That's where money is made. A lot of the initial applications, most people would want to port from a flat screen into a three-dimensional world so that you can engage with the brand better and you can have better shopping experiences. We also believe maybe some formative experiences like education could benefit a lot because if students can be in that environment, whether it is history, whether it's science, right, they will have much stronger learning experience, and it's tremendously exciting for that to happen. Things like gaming has been spoken about, but we think that's probably be the tip of the pyramid because not everybody wants to have that kind of a cutting-edge gaming experience. But for the real aficionados, that could be one of the other reasons why they would want to get in.
Content creation will be a very critical element. As of now, if you see, they are very limited. We have seen a lot of industrial applications people are talking about to use in this kind of environment.
Training, yeah,
for
one of the
training,
things, industrial training
for
is
hand-holding and kind of stuff.
Internally, Jio is using Dani?
We do use limited in terms of, we have used it in our Jamnagar refinery in some of the critical elements where safety is utmost important. But I would say these are initial trials. There's a lot more to do. I think the platforms itself to build this content,
Yeah.
they themselves are in a very nascent stage. They're
So-
not there to really.
So
build
our
it.
our
but
approach
we
has
have,
been-
yeah, sorry. So we have this startup called Tesseract. In fact, it was there, one of it, which is a Jio startup and which does this particular development. In fact, we are building an entire content play store on top of it, where we are going to open up a lot of APIs, a lot of platform capabilities for other content providers to come and host and build the entire thing on this particular platform. We believe that that's another, 18 to 36 months where you will really see things coming up. As 5G grows up, this demand will automatically start raising, and that's where you will see a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
I think this is interesting, but let's carry on the conversation over lunch. Otherwise, it'll get kind of late.
Okay.
So
Thank
thanks,
you.
Anish. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kiran.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.